Hello, everybody. I am back with my most coveted interview of my life this far. I mean, of course, there's Mary J. Blige, there's Idris Elba, and then there's Pierre Jeanty. Like he's up there. I've been begging this guy for an interview for 4 years since I started doing the 12 Authors of Christmas. How you doing, Pierre?
I am doing well, and 4 years you interview me every day, but
I mean, yeah, but for the people.
yes, but yeah, thank you for having me. It's an honor. Just as you're proud of having me, I'm proud that you're interviewing me.
Stop it! Okay, y'all. For the sake of this interview, I have to tell you, we really do talk every day. So I call him Alex, and that's what we're gonna roll with. Because
Mhm.
Pierre, like, why is your name even Pierre? Like, who calls you? Does anybody call you that in real
Yes, yes, people outside of you call me Pierre. Just to let you know.
life? Okay.
Yes.
Well, introduce yourself to the people, and then we will get started.
Okay, so my name is Pierre Alex Jeanty, and I am an author, I am a poet, and I'm also fall under the umbrella of just self-help. Usually when I say poetry, I want to make sure that it's clear that I write mostly content about from the self-help aspect and mostly in relationships. I've been an author for the last almost a decade now. I've been writing full time, yes, for almost a decade. And I have about 16 books, which
Woo! Say it
Carla,
again.
which Carla edited most of them, at least 95% of them.
Yeah.
So I do live in Florida, and my wife Natalie Jeanty is also an author who was on this show. So yes.
So you are one of my, I only have two psycho authors who say, "Hey Carla, on Thursday, what you doing this weekend? I'm going to write a book and send it to you on Monday. Can you take it?" Talk to me about your thought process deciding to write a book and then pumping it out.
So one of the things that I think helped me write quickly is one, I try to write daily. So being that I would have to write a post or something online daily, and in the early years, like 2017, 18-ish, way even earlier than that, I would build the habit of posting at least 10 times a day on social media. And being that I had to find content, I had to develop this skill even before I quit my job to write, to make sure I'm writing something daily. And I think that built a base in me, and also understanding marketing and my audience. With that base, it allows me to produce books quicker because I know what the ideal reader is looking from me, or my readers are looking to read from me. And that allows me to create faster. And usually my process is I have a writing room, or it's either for some reason I'm having tongue twisters, but it's either
Maybe
that
because you speak
we
three languages. Maybe that's why.
yes, that's right. That is it. That is it. But because I usually go into the room, or I go to Barnes and Noble, I used to have to find a setting. I have to find a setting where it puts me in the mood. But usually the mood doesn't have to be what is the ideal author's mood. It just has to be quiet and peaceful enough, or organized enough, because sometimes I clean before I write, but
Ooh.
organized enough where I could just my thoughts can just flow. And in the early days, I would separate them where I'm writing multiple books at once. Where if it comes for this category, I write in this one. I tend to also use notebooks, which makes it easier to flow. But the process is finding the right setting, then dumping all my thoughts and then organizing it. Because as my editor, sometimes you get stuff that do not make an ounce of sense.
Not one.
But
And I leave a
um,
comment like, WTF, question mark, question mark, question. What are we saying here? This doesn't make any sense.
so that's the process of dumping, because if I try to organize anything, it slows me down. So I dump it, and I actually do not like interacting with it after I dump it, which is why I send it to my editors raw, and then I'm building the process of going back and forth. But before I was like, hey, make it happen, and I'll publish it. But that is why I think the base of me always writing for on a daily basis, it makes it easier when I'm sitting down to write. It comes
Mhm.
out quicker where I published a book in a week.
Ugh.
And it's a
It's almost,
bestseller.
and it was a bestseller, by the way. It's almost annoying because I know when he calls me and he says he's going to write a book, he writes, well, I'm saying you write a book and it's done. It's so irritating because it's like, gosh, you wrote it so fast. Oh my God. And for the most part, like 80% of it makes sense. The book is done. There are just a few poems that we have to tweak. And I remember when we first started working together, I would do track changes. And I'm like, hey, did you see my changes? He's like, man, I don't have time for that junk. I just write. I'm like, wait a minute. Now we write in Google Docs because he's
Yes.
writing so fast and he needs the book. Like, we'll start on Monday. He needs the book to go to the printer by Thursday night. So he's writing and I'm editing as he goes. How do you feel that? Do you feel like that interrupts your creative process, or like how do you? Because it was your idea to do this, to do the Google Docs. So how do you feel that impedes your process or not?
I think especially one of the things that makes allow me to write fast or give my creativity some freedom is the fact that I like to put myself on. I don't go by deadlines, but I'm big on procrastinating, which is terrible sometimes. But it adds the pressure where it's like it's an overflow when it comes to when it start pouring, it start to pour out. But what I've learned over the years is when I do put myself on those short deadlines, it's a bit easier to get things done, which is
Mm,
why in Google Docs, instead of me waiting, me writing and I send the file to you, then you send it back, then I have to open it, go through it. I decided, well, I can write anywhere, anytime on Google Docs. So I'm on my phone, I go to my iPad, I go to my laptop. So I'm always writing, and then you're making the changes. Everything is happening real time. So because of that, I could say, hey, there's a short deadline, but everything is done real time because I would think of poems or things I need to write while I'm, standing somewhere, and I'm like, I'll pull out my phone, pull the document, and just put it right in there. So that made it more efficient, which also allowed me to be a bit more effective and quick in terms of getting a book done.
okay. And it's definitely quick. So 16 books. We're at 16. I'm going to catch up with you. I'm at 7. I'm about to publish 8. But see, mine are novels. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm about to publish 8, probably the beginning of January. And then next year, I'm doing a series of rapid releases. So by 2025, I will have caught up with you. I'm saying it here on record. So you can hold me to it. You can just replay this video. But let's talk numbers, sales numbers. So in 2020, you called me. I don't know if you sent me the link or you called me and you were like, yo, I just made USA Today bestsellers list.
Yes.
And that, I think, was the first time I cried with a client. I was like, wait, what? You did what? You sold how many books? And they didn't even factor all of your sales, but you were the
Yeah.
only independent publisher on that list. So, in terms of book sales, can you give me a dollar figure or a unit figure of how many books you sold, just so people know?
So just so I can put your name out there because you're an editor on these books, the book that hit USA Today bestseller was her, and during that time, it hit USA Today bestsellers list. I could tell you on about 40% of our sales, not even probably 40,
That's
35%.
crazy.
Because we mostly sell direct, as you know, we sell mostly on Shopify. All the volume goes directly to our store, and everything else is considered a residue or extra. So last time I checked the numbers, we were definitely past the half a million or 700. It's between six to 700,000 books that I believe were sold, and I think her has passed a half a million mark from what I remember. In terms of sales, I think we are in the 7 or 8 million range. In terms of book sale numbers, um, but
This
yeah,
is why
it's a
people jump.
continuous.
This is the reason. Bro, the average, we just had this conversation like Monday or Tuesday. The average number of sale, like an independent publisher sells 500 books in their lifetime,
Yeah. And it's
and you
crazy.
and
What
you're
is
at
crazy,
100x that number.
it's yes. And the crazy part that I didn't realize how well we were doing in 2020 until I look back. I'm like, oh my God, we're doing 800 orders a day and and only on our store. So 800 orders a day is probably like 1,000 to 1,200 bucks. Being that people will buy bundles or different things, and once you go to Amazon, we're doing if not those numbers, but even more.
Or
So there was a point I was selling 2 to 3,000 books,
a day.
probably a day. Yeah,
And you, all of your books at that time, well, and even still now, you're in the top, like at least 10 of you before you started going direct. All of your books were in the top like 10, 20 in the
yeah.
poetry section on Amazon. How does that feel knowing you're an industry leader? Like, I know you're not conceited at all, but just like for real, how do you ever think about, wow, that's so cool, I'm in the top? Or you just like, oh, let me go get to the next book?
The second part, I'm always like, oh, let me get to the next book. But I never sat and look at the success until I started teaching authors how to do this, and I had to get under the hood and really look at everything. And I realized when it comes to my success, like it's amazing. I didn't even know we were close to the dollar figure that I mentioned. It's when I had to give the receipts, and I'm like, oh, I've done close to 8 million in sales. Wow, like what? So it's a blessing, and I try to keep up with the ranking, but I used to in the beginning of my career, but now I realize like I'm always hovering there, so I don't necessarily do it. But it's to know that all of my books, even at the time where we're hot and we have the right marketing budget, etc., you could find at least 3, 4 books on the in the top 10,000, and sometime I've
Unbelievable.
had I've had two of them reach Amazon top 100. I've had we've reached it. We've done a lot, and it's a blessing. It's amazing.
I'm just, you said I'm always hovering there. I'm stuck on that because there are millions, plural, millions, even maybe even tens of millions of books on Amazon. You're in the top 10,000 consistently. So before I let you go, let's segue. We'll take that point and segue to you going under the hood and teaching other authors. Talk to us about your academy.
Okay. So yes, about 2021, I decided one of the things that I want to do is help people do what I've been doing because I notice a lot of authors struggle when it comes to selling their books. Some of it is the book itself. Some of it is they simply don't know how to navigate social media, or the world of marketing in general. And since then, I've been able to create a book where I mandate that they read the book to understand a book business. And from there, you get access to my courses where I teach you how to build a Shopify, how to run Facebook ads, and you utilize email marketing or email automation to make that work as a beautiful piece, really, a funnel for you to get readers because the idea is to build something where you can always have access to the readers, which is why we have like an email list of about 300,000 people, 270 or so, depending on how we're cleaning out the list. So, the more I went under the hood, I realized how to structure it. Then, after people get access to the course, there is an accelerator that I have group coaching where pretty much I help them go through the course, but execute the places they need to execute. And what is amazing about it is that I've been doing it for the last 2 years, and so far this year, two other authors hit seven figure, and it's my passion now because I realize not only am I good at what I do in terms of writing and marketing my own books and products, but I'm also good at duplicating it and helping others. And it's been the joy, and that's what I focus on. And that's what I've been saying. I want to work with Carla on this piece because Carla have authors that she knows, and authors need to learn marketing. So
Right.
yeah.
Authors need to learn marketing. So where can we find the book? Because you have to read the book, because I edited the book. I've already read it. I'm in his accelerator now. But where can they find the website for the advertising, marketing advertising?
So the title of the brand is sevenfigurebookbusiness.com. If you need to find the book, it's sevenfigurebookbusiness.com/book. And all of the things will pretty much pop up if you Google the term seven figure book business.
And where can they find you on social?
It depends. If you want to find me as an author, it's at Pierre Jeanty everywhere. And if you want to find me as an educator, it's Seven Figure Book Business
Ooh,
everywhere.
ooh. Thank you so much, Alex, for joining me. Hopefully, it won't take another 4 years before we re-up this interview. But thank you again for taking the time out. I really appreciate it. You have a wonderful day.
You too, and thank you for having me.
All right, bye.
Bye.